Yo, in today's video, I wanted to provide you all with some tips and or guidance that will help you improve in a swift manner when it comes to Valorant here on console. In following this guidance or these tips, whatever you want to reference them as, you will notice that the more you lean into them, the better you'll become. Of course, you'll have to mold them a bit in order to fit you, but in formulating that, you will have the recipe for success. Now, if you end up finding any bit of value from this video at all, do me the biggest favor in the world, like the video in order to help me algorithmically, and then also please subscribe to the channel. We have many more Valorant guides in the pipeline, as well as some entertaining gameplay that I believe you all will enjoy as well. Ultimately, I have high hopes to be your one-stop shop when it comes to Valorant here on console. Now, without further ado, let's go ahead, let's jump in and let's talk shop, shall we? So I do want to preface, I have about 9 tips in total that I want to cover in today's video. Why 9? I honestly have no idea, but hey, it just is what it is. The first tip I want to provide you all with is to warm up daily and or train daily, okay? When it comes to Valorant, consistency is going to be pivotal in regards to being able to develop and nurture that muscle memory and also improve your reaction time overall. By making sure that we warm up and that we train adequately, it's going to ensure that your aim, reflexes, and overall game sense is going to be on point for that particular gaming session or for the gaming sessions to come in the future. So I would advise that you begin each and every gaming session with a nice little warm-up routine, nothing more than maybe 10 to 15 minutes. Anything beyond that can start to run the risk of being a detriment and run the risk of a little bit of burnout and be counterintuitive. I know there are some individuals that warm up for like 30 minutes, and if that is you, hey, more power to you. But I know me, that 10 to 15 minute window seems to be solid. Now, if we're just jumping on to train, we don't have any intentions to run some games following, then feel free to train to your heart's content. Just remember, as you start to feel like any form of fatigue or burnout, shut it down, okay? Now, when it comes to things, we're going to go ahead and focus on whether we're warming up or we're training. We're going to do things like focusing on tracking, find that one dummy in the training range that you can just lock your reticle on and make sure you're strafing left, strafing right at slow paces, at fast paces, do whatever you need to do, but keep that reticle right at head level, And the best way to do this is to activate the eliminate bots, right? When you're eliminating 50 or 100 bots, and just track. I try to make sure I get in 2 to 3 strafes. I'll go ahead and put that bot down, flick to the next one, 2 or 3 strafes, put that bot down, and I rinse and repeat throughout all 50 or 100 bots. That gives me plenty of time to really hone in on my tracking. Now, when it comes to working on flicking, of course, you can just pull up the practice bots and flick in between them, but what I like to do is turn on the bots that will disappear on you real quick, and I like to turn it on medium difficulty. Easy, they last a little too long, and putting the difficulty on hard, they kind of disappear a little too quick for my liking, at least on controller. So medium is a nice middle ground. I keep it there, and I try to keep everything centered, and I just try to snap to the left, snap to the right, wherever the bots pop up, and I take 1 to 2 shots. If I miss, I take it on the chin, and then I move on and I prepare for the next bot to pop up. And I rinse and repeat that for as long as needed. And then the last thing I do, I like to call it freestyling, right? I'll turn back on the eliminate 50 bots, and I'll do some strafing, I'll do some quick flicks, and I'll put the bot down. I'll try to turn around real quick, flick onto that next bot, put them down, and I'm doing this all while strafing. So I'll strafe into the bot, stop, shoot, strafe to the next bot, stop, shoot, so on and so forth. And you should have a visual representation of this on the screen right now, as long as I did my job and I acquired the proper gameplay here. But freestyling is really good because it just allows the body to flow and allows for you to piece together everything. I would typically end out my warm-up session or my training session with this about 5 minutes no matter what. The next tip I want to bring to your attention actually will coincide really well with tip number 1, and it is focusing on your crosshair placement, okay? Proper crosshair placement is going to reduce the time required to aim at your target, and it's going to make your shots often more accurate and effective. Ever wonder how you get put down at the snap of a finger and you're like, dude, what the heck, that person swung me, I had them dead to rights and they put me down? Typically has to do with proper crosshair placement there. Focusing on keeping your crosshair at head level and pre-aiming common angles will give you a significant advantage in just about every gunfight known to man. So as you are warming up or as you are training, be sure to practice keeping your crosshair at head level and pre-aim spots where enemies are often likely to appear, okay? Again, this is only going to minimize the distance that your crosshair needs to travel, allowing for quicker and more precise shots when it's all said and done. A little sidebar here is to pay attention to markers around the map. And what I mean by that is there will be often pieces around the map, such as cover, certain aesthetics, whatever the case may be, that actually line up to head level. So if you keep your reticle at that level of that particular piece of cover, whether if it's a box or at this certain architecture, like if the wall looks a certain way and you notice a line in the middle that actually lines up appropriately with somebody's head, keeping your reticle lined up with that particular visual marker will be great, and it will be instrumental for you to be able to snap on somebody's head and put them down before they can even blink. The next tip I want to hone in on here is economy management, okay? Now you may be asking, Cray, what the heck is economy management? And I would say that's a great question. Economy management is knowing when you need to actually do a half buy or full buy, what you actually need to buy, and when you actually need to save your credits so that you can put you, and not only you, but your best team in the best position possible to succeed against the opposition. Believe it or not, this can actually give you a competitive edge and can actually turn the tides of a battle. So what I like to do, no matter if we win pistol rounds or not, is I like to see what my teammates are buying, especially when I'm solo queuing. If it looks like my teammates are going to go ahead and they're going to buy Spectres or they're going to buy Vandals if we won that pistol round, oftentimes I will do a half buy. I'll go ahead and get a light shield or light armor, and I'll get something like a Sheriff, and I will go ahead and rock out with that. Reason being is because it's going to allow for me to save more money. Who knows, in the future I may need to buy a teammate a weapon as well as myself, right? But ultimately, it puts me in a position where I can still handle business as long as I line up my headshots. And once my teammates that I'm relying on puts down somebody else, I can go ahead and trade out and pick up their Spectre or their Vandals if they could possibly afford it. So that's how I like to do. I like to be a little bit more frugal in that regard, but ultimately it's going to come down to communicating with your team and deciding when you all are going to save money, when you all are going to do something along the lines of just have one or two players opt in for Vandals, Ops, whatever the case may be, while the rest of the team will do a half buy, whatever the case may be. When it's all said and done, their communication is going to be key. And also do not forget to pay mind to your opponent's economy. If they've lost the last 3 or 4 rounds, they're going to be pretty much so down bad, especially if they went full buy, right? If you were putting down people and they kept dropping Vandals as they were getting put down, do know they're eventually going to have to run into a half buy where they may opt for Sheriffs, Spectres, and they're going to look for like those close to mid-range fights. Keep those things in mind and adjust your strategy accordingly. The next tip I want to give you all is knowing when to move and knowing when to stop, okay? Moving and stopping at the right times can mean the difference between winning and losing a duel, okay? Of course, moving makes you harder to hit, but at the same time, stopping will make you much more accurate when it comes to shooting. So how I like to think about it is like this. Move against the opposition until you know for a fact your reticle is within striking distance. Then at that moment you stop, you fire as fast as possible after you've stopped, and make sure that you can ensure the kill. If your reticle is misplaced at all, continue moving and grooving until you can put your opponent at a disadvantage, whether if they have to reload or now they're frantically spraying. And then of course, as that reticle is lined up, you stop and you shoot and you put them down. Of course, this is something that we can tie into that initial tips such as warming up or training, right? We can practice this type of thing in the training range or following our warm-up activities in the training range as we move into like a deathmatch or team deathmatch. This is something we can really hone in on integrating. In fact, jumping into a deathmatch or team deathmatch will really help from a timing standpoint. The next tip I have for you all is to pay attention to all angles, okay? So paying attention to all angles is really important, because having this awareness of potentially where an enemy can pop up at is going to really reduce the chance of being caught off guard. And as you all know, or if you don't know, I'm going to inform you, Valorant can turn into a horror game real quick. You could literally be creeping around a corner and somebody's right there in your face and you get jump scared, you start spraying, miss shots, get put down, you know? Being mindful of every single angle where somebody could possibly be or where somebody could possibly see you is going to allow for a lot less jump scares. It's going to keep you in a state of calmness and give you the best opportunity possible to line up that shot and put the opposition down. So I would say while you're entering a site or holding a position, systematically clear all common hiding spots and or angles, okay? Don't be afraid to utilize utility like flashes or drones to check dangerous areas before exposing yourself. Trust me, I would much rather you give away your position by flashing every corner but being safe and sound versus you creep every corner trying to be Ninja Gaiden and get body slammed, you know? And actually, I don't even know if there's stealth in Ninja Gaiden, so Assassin's Creed, I don't know, but I digress here. Sidebar here, as you're trying to clear every angle, be sure to communicate with your teammates, right? You have to let them know, hey, went ahead, cleared left side of site A, left side of site B, whatever the case may be, so they can have peace in knowing that you cleared it, you checked every corner, they can clear and check every corner on their end, they may catch somebody lacking, put them down, now site is clear, you guys can plant and position. The next tip I have for you all is actually going to piggyback off of the one prior, and it's to pay attention to enemy movements and their overall play style, okay? We have to think about the game of Valorant almost like a game of chess, you know? So understanding and adapting to the enemy's play style will allow for you to predict their actions and plan accordingly. Observing their patterns can provide valuable insight that allows for you to know what they're doing and counter them effectively. So some of the best things we can do here are things like pay mind to the kill feed, listen to audio cues, check the map where your teammates do get put down at, analyze enemy behavior throughout the match, you name it, okay? As you're gathering intel, be sure to share observations with your team and again, adjust that strategy accordingly. For example, if you know that enemy Reyna always takes the long flank around, allocate resources to be able to cover that angle and put her down instantly. Once you counter her, she's going to have a rebuttal, and if she doesn't, then it's just going to be a 5v4 for the rest of the game. The next tip I have for you all, I think it's tip number 7. I don't know, I lost count here. But the next tip I have for you all is to make swift decisions and to learn from every single engagement, okay? With the exceptions of moments where you need to have trigger discipline, like a couple enemies walking past you and they don't see you, hesitation can actually lead to missed opportunities and poor outcomes, especially in those fast-paced situations like retaking a site and things of that nature. So having quick decision-making skills coupled with learning from each engagement will improve your gameplay over time. Don't be afraid to trust your instincts and just full send it when it comes to your decisions during engagements. After each round or even after each match, be sure to reflect and review your gameplay to identify the mistakes you made and think about those areas of growth. As I mentioned in my Ultimate Beginner's Guide, vocalize those things, right? Write those things down. Do whatever you need to do to ingrain those mistakes you made, or excuse me, to not ingrain the mistakes you made, but ingrain the things that you can do better so you will do better moving forward. The next tip, and I believe this is tip number 8, and actually I would consider this to probably be one of the most important tips, is to communicate every single stinking thing, okay? Having effective communication will enhance team coordination a great deal, and it will allow for you all to have proper strategic planning. An average skilled team with great coordination and communication will always trump an above average skilled team with no communication at all. Sharing any information you come across, such as enemy positions, their health status, their play styles, their inconsistencies, whatever the case may be, share it, because this will allow for you all to build out a game plan to help your team make the proper decisions and adjustments moving forward. So please do not be afraid to use voice chat, or if you do have any form of like social anxiety, or you're just like, no, I'm not going to utilize that, ping like there is no tomorrow, okay? And when I mean ping like there's no tomorrow, I mean ping everything, enemy locations, where you see somebody, what you're going to do, whatever the case may be. The more you communicate, the more you will keep your team in the fight. And look, just a sidebar here, I know there are toxic people out there that you would use voice chat, but you hear that toxicity come out and it makes you not want to talk to people. What I do in those instances is I will mute those individuals. I will mute them without hesitation, but I will still use my voice chat feature so they can hear me, but I can't hear them. And look, yes, it sucks having toxic people on your team, but if we can still get the job done and we can win, we can live to fight another day, cool, I'll block them and I don't ever have to see them again, you know? So I try to keep that type of mindset when it comes to communication. And if they are just terrible, they aren't listening or anything like that, then again, I will default to the ping system to the best of my ability. So I say all that to say, don't let those toxic folks ruin your opportunity to get a W. Yeah, they don't deserve the win because they suck and they're toxic, but at the end of the day, you need to do what you can do to protect your MMR. And then of course, if you're playing ranked, protect those rank points that we do not want to lose at any cost, you know? And the last tip I have for you all, at least in this video here, is to keep a positive mindset, okay? And look, I know that is much easier said than done, you know? But that positive mindset is going to keep stress mitigated. is going to keep you focused on improving versus being focused on that frustration. And when we think about things from a frustrating standpoint, that leaves no opportunity for growth. If you're in a 1v4 situation and you only put down 3 of them and you lose that 4th gunfight, look at it as, oh shoot, I almost had, man, if I would have done this one thing different, I would have had him. Next time, I'm going to do that thing different and I'm going to put it down. Versus, oh my gosh, I suck. What? Like, why would I, how could I not win that, right? Like, that is just demeaning. That's going to have no benefit to you, right? Whereas the first way we went about it would have so much more benefit. If you reflect upon where you could have won that 4th duel, that will give you the greatest opportunity to grow and be able to win that 1v4 in the future. Also, if you keep a positive mindset and you are one of those individuals that do not mind vocalizing that, right? You keep a positive mindset throughout your entire team, you would be shocked with how you can really boost the team morale. You may hear your teammates complaining, saying we suck, saying we're not going to win this, and then all of a sudden you guys win 2 rounds and you're hyping everybody up and you're encouraging everybody, and the entire team morale has shifted. Now everybody's feeling good, they're depending upon one another. Next thing you know, you all pull the reverse sweep, you all win the match, GG's only. You all watching this may think I'm a little too optimistic there, but trust me when I say that has happened to me before here in Valorant, in games such as Apex Legends, and even Fortnite, believe it or not. Just by me keeping that positive mindset and vocalizing that and sharing that with everybody else, you would be shocked with how infectious positivity really can be. And if you find yourself at that breaking point where like you can't even hold on to an ounce of positivity anymore, then it's probably time for you to just take a break. Take 15, walk away, grab something to drink, grab a snack, press that reset button so when you sit back down, you're like, okay, I've cooled off, I'm good, let's get ready to jump back in and continue rocking and rolling. And folks, that's what I have for you all on today. I believe by you following these tips that I went ahead and laid out for you, you will have the greatest opportunity to develop your gameplay overall from a mechanical standpoint, from a mindset standpoint, and by ingraining these things day over day, week over week, month over month, you will be able to become your best self. It's been your boy Cray. I am signing out. Please do me the biggest favor. Again, make sure you like the video on your way out and also hit the subscribe button for much more Valorant content to come in the near future. I love you all. Thank you all so much for coming and watching. We out. Peace.